In this video I want to show an example of attaching a chart trader ATM strategy to an OFA profile that has been connected to the risk reward menu. In reviewing the background of the structure here to see what context of chart we're looking at, we're seeing the prior day close of the oil session here. Coming into today, this session here, we're in a range. We've made several attempts to make new highs, and it's come back into the range. And as we can see here, we've tried again to break through the 60-40 level, and it's fallen back into the range. So I'm now looking here at a potential entry. Either is going to break out from the range, or again is going to make a triple top and fall back into the range. So I'm going to draw a decision point profile here from the transition from the last attempt at the highs. So I'm looking here for the approach back to trading back into this prior high area here. With our range setup, we are tracking to see where the edge of value is, and for a convincing breakout through that value with a pullback to the volume weighted average price as our entry. I'm now going to add an active profile to this volume here that has begun probing into this prior high. Just attach this to the axis. I'm also going to enable this profile for advanced profile here, because I want to see the actual evolving value area lines in addition to the value here showing in the histogram. So again, we're looking for the market to show us and prove to us with conviction, which are we moving into a breakout situation, or are we trading back into the range? For a breakout situation, where we're looking for a strong breakthrough from the value area in this particular profile at the highs, and then looking for a pullback for an entry at the VWAP, the volume weighted average price. The converse of this is for a breakdown through back into the range of the value area and looking for an entry at the VWAP, a short entry at the VWAP or one tick ahead of the VWAP for a short. So let's see how this profile evolves. This profile was set to active, which means it's automatically connected to the risk reward menu. Whilst this is developing, I'm just going to set up my entry, a short value area high price, one tick behind. So you can see there was an attempt to break through the upper value. Currently this one tick behind. So whilst this price action resolves itself, currently it's rotating between the upper and lower value area. I'm just going to remove disable the display of the lines. As we're waiting here for a convincing conviction, letting the market show us a breakdown through the lower value or a break up through, and then looking at the VWAP as an entry, either for a long or for a short. So here we have another failed attempt to break higher through the value area. So we're stuck in a range here. Okay, so now we have a convincing breakthrough of the lower value area, and we are looking at an entry one tick ahead of the VWAP from the current market price, and our stop. I just want to assess how our risk is for one tick behind the current value. So I'm going to switch this back on again. So you can see at the moment with the VWAP relative to the value area high price is 10 ticks. Now we've got to consider if that's more risk than we're willing to apply to this trade per contract. If we look at these two decision point profiles here, this is a transition in towards the end of the London morning session, and then we have one here. We would be achieving with this current risk reward 4 to 1 to achieve the price at this decision point here. So we have a volume transition here, and then 5 to 1 for this level here. But still, we still want to consider if this is more risk than we are willing to employ for this trade. Having set up this profile from the initial probe into the prior decision point, I'm now just going to adjust slightly to this bar here, which actually was more of the convincing probe into that higher area. So we're now seeing a bit more separation between the volume weighted average price and the CWAP, and also from the DWAP here. Having done this, you can see the value area price, high price, has increased our risk to 13. So we've now traded back to the volume weighted average price. So I want to reassess my risk on this trade and look at using the DWAP, the differential CWAP, and one tick behind this. Click here.
Order pending.
Now the process here is to right click on the sell entry here and attach to indicator, selecting the ADV profile entry price. You can see also there's the option to add the stop price once this order is filled. So I'm going to add the entry price. I can, if I wish, to set the offset ticks additionally here, which will be in addition to the offset that's showing here. So this will be separate to the risk reward offset if you want to add this. So I'm now adding, so you can see now that the chart trader ATM is now tracking the risk reward profile entry, which is at 60.22, one tick in front of the VWAP relative to the current market price, you can see here. So you can see with this reduced risk size, I now have a profile here for the first decision point making 8-1 and then 10-1 at the London session volume transition. So for 5 ticks of risk, I have this profile that's been generated with the risk reward using the differential CWAP as a stop. So you can see the chart trader entry is tracking any shift in the volume weighted average price. So we're waiting here for our entry at VWAP. You can also see the confluence of the dashed white line, which is the 50 line of this profile we have here. You can see here our value.
Order filled.
Okay, we've now been filled. And you see there we have the stop and the targets that have been laid out for us. So I'm going to choose here and map this to the 3-1. And I'm also going to take 5-1 and 7-1. So we're overlaying the chart trader lines with our risk reward generated take profits. If you wanted, you could extend this down to the London low area and take that to 8-1 or 9-1. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to leave it as you see. Again, as I said, we also have the option here to add this. Now this will add it to the stop price, which in this case is the red dashed line here, which is one tick behind the DWAP. In this example, I'm just going to adjust this manually to the stop. And I just want to explain here, in right-clicking this, you'll see that the 3 contracts that we have for this trade, each of these individually, currently in the current implementation of NinjaTrader, it is necessary to attach these one by one to the stop, the setting that we have set up for this profile, which will set the stop and have it dynamically adjust with the stop setting that you have, in this case the DWAP. This does provide some flexibility, so if you wanted to have some of the stops set to the DWAP and perhaps one further behind at the standard deviation, or if you wanted some separation, there is the flexibility currently in Ninja to do so. What has been requested is to make this more efficient so that all 3 of these at the same price level can be added in one click to the profile variable that we have here. So this has been requested for a future version in Ninja to have the option to attach this in one click, but equally it is providing you with the flexibility if you want to attach to separate areas on the chart. We obviously only provide one stop price, but you may wish to set or move this to another indicator value that you have. But for OFA and for risk reward, we currently only provide the one stop price. So this hopefully will be remedied and made more efficient in a future release of NinjaTrader. Just going to move the stop down. So that's our first 3-1 target achieved. And the next one, I'm just going to disable these lines because you can see these are actually moving as the entry and move our stop down. So we're now, and if we want, I can move this down to the VWAP. Achieved 5-1. I'm now moving this to the VWAP. You can see that the DWAP has provided us with a great risk sizing profile opportunity here, as opposed to using the value area high price expand, you can see has actually expanded upwards, and earlier on it was actually giving us a bigger risk to reward multiple in order to achieve our 2 to 1, 3 to 1 and 5 to 1. So now we've achieved our 3 targets at the I think it was 8 to 1 I had, and 5 to 1 and 3 to 1. So it's comfortably come down back to the London lows, this volume transition. This example, as I said, it was to demonstrate that attaching your ATM strategy to the risk reward profile that has been set up as an active profile, attaching it to the entry, and also showing you the option to attach it to the stop or to move it manually.